So now you chose quite a complicated theme, quite a controversial for some people about relationships between spiritual and, how to say, mundane activities, business, about Leela, Brahmin. So could you explain why you chose this theme?
I will maybe structure it slightly differently. In the space of Kairos that you are, that is the framework that you are working with and kind of like put your trust in. The second subject was affluence, and the book that you were talking about was one of the Alex Hormozi's book, like 100 billion offers, probably something like that. It's never mind like which book it was. It's more relevant to me the overarching theme of how I see Alex Hormozi as a entrepreneur and what's like his approach to doing things remind me of. In my more kind of joyful, creative way, I thought about like you can watch it in a frame of Leela, the divine game of Brahmin. I will come back to this. But like if we want to do it on a theme of extremely kind of technical and to the point in life, you can just as well talk about Alex Hormozi as an interesting case of a algorithm with self-reflection and strong emphasis of high pace of iteration and being kind of honest with assessing outcomes while managing inputs. Because, for example, he speaks very often about like, okay, like one of the inputs is being tired, another input is being afraid. Okay, whatever. You want to listen to that input, listen to that input. But if you like want to do the thing, then like do the thing. It's not much more complicated than doing the thing as long as you kind of are trying to be fair. And by fair, I mean like one, trying to know what you're aiming at, because if you don't know, like you cannot hit it. And the second one, like not being I shouldn't swear here. Okay, not being a bad person to yourself, because like there is a level of judgment which is extremely counterproductive, and you can like put yourself into the ground mentally or not. Why I kind of chose this spin on the Alex Hormozi thing and this spin of the like kind of iterative nature of games to be played that's connected to the archetype of the story of Leela and the divine game, because like all games have rules. A big extent, what Alex is trying to do, in my opinion, is trying to help lay out plain rules of what you are supposed to do. Meaning you need to like grow your business, you need to either find more people who will buy the thing, sell it for more money, like or have like recurrent revenue. Maybe I'm missing the third or something else, but generally the two first, I'm sure, volume of customers, price per purchase. So like this is very simple. So like where is your problem currently? You have a lot of customers and you're not earning enough money. Maybe raise the price. Like you like don't have a lot of customers. You have two options: raise the price, so you better serve your current customers, or like increase the volume of your customers. Meaning like he, I believe, beautifully explains a lot of rules of the games in creating affluence. And for you to choose a frame of being a hero on a journey, being an entrepreneur businessman, being a divine entity priest of Brahmin who plays a game that the Brahmin enjoys sharing with us, do what you want to do. It's not for me to judge what kind of story you tell yourself, but make it one that's productive. Like there is a guy, missing his name at the moment, but he says something. He has an interesting idea of useful beliefs. Like at best, beliefs are useful. If a belief is not useful, then it doesn't matter to some degree if it's true or not. Meaning, like I'm gonna say a stupid example. Would you like to give me a pop artist that most people know, because I'm gonna try to reference a pop artist.
You mean some
Okay.
singer on some artist
Yeah,
or
yeah,
some
yeah. Yeah.
Freddie
Who do
Mercury?
you listen? Okay, that would be very controversial if I started to look for those kind of things.
Maybe
Okay, like
Beatles?
in the example, it was Dolly Parton. Like it's Eric Weinstein's example. That like you can say many truths about Dolly Parton. One of the truths about Dolly Parton that you can say is that she has big breasts. What have you accomplished now? You said something quite uninteresting and very superficial. If you say that her lyrics of her song bring depth to relationships and pain and help to confront it in a space that's like kind of less visited because like she has a style of singing that I think like is kind of trending toward like country music. Maybe not exactly, but somewhere there. There is so much you can say about a person or a thing. And the same I can say about like entrepreneurship, meaning like, okay, you are doing your business. How much money are you earning? Like how many customers do you have? Like what's the revenue of your product? Okay, I judged you. You're not doing great. Like you're shit. Okay. There's one story. Another story. You are entering an arena which you don't know and you use it for your growth. How are you approaching the arena? Who do you want to become? What are the guiding principles for the fight? Okay, how will you know if you're leveling up, going down, or stagnating? Okay, so you build yourself a direction and a structure for verification of progress. Now play, which is valid.
So if you are in either in work situation or in either hobby or family, or you do business or do some office work, if you feel some resistance, feel some anger or something not exactly right, so it means that you are caught in a lure. He also, I think that's the name of the author, is Assert the Power of Now, and it describes that if you don't live in the moment, if you don't experience the situation as in the moment, in the current moment, then you either regret about the past or fear about the future. So whenever you are not present in the moment, you have a lot of you are in the state of unconsciousness, are in the state of mild unconsciousness, whether you are a little bit worried or you are in the state of great big problem, big unconsciousness, where you are in a full distress, in great worry, in great fear. And so it quite relates to the concept that you mentioned at the beginning. We start with Leela, with a relationship with something divine. So this relationships is quite, it could be projected to everything that we do. So if you are in full consciousness, you are in full attention with your doing, then you can outperform other people. So it doesn't matter whether you're in business, you're doing some personal, you pay most attention to your beloved ones, to your non-business activities, or you put your full attention to business activities. And what Alex Hormozi tells, he's quite how to say, determined. He's quite harsh sometimes with defining your weak points and people who will never be successful. His formula of the $100 million offer is straightforward, and it underscores the principles of human psychology, and it allows you to directly understand what people need and how they can reach their goals. I wanted also to mention that your relationship with yourself, with time, and how you approach different problems in your life is deterministic in the level of your success, in how happy you will be, and what results you will achieve. So with starting with Leela that you mentioned, the Leela is, you can have in Vedic literature, you can have different relationships with the divine. And Leela is more or less like very loving. It's mostly like Krishna Gopi. It's like beloved ones, like husband and wife, like your lover, beloved. This kind of like married life, like how to say, people in perverted human understanding that is like sex relationship with God. But it could be this Leela, like gopis do with Krishna, and others was like friends. And another relationship was between parent and a child, when you approach God as your child and you treat him as a child. So there are a lot of concepts similar to this, but my main how to say, perception of what can be done to improve one's relationship with first with ourselves and with whatever we do, is to have clear understanding of where we are at the moment, using the concept of now, of present moment, and having a clear understanding of where what you're going to accomplish. So maybe I touched the different points. That's what I thought.
You spoke about different relationships to different aspects of life. Like, for example, being a husband, being a father, being at work, probably some few others. Like I feel that what is being proposed in the concept of Leela, why it's like so important the space, is what we already found in neuroscience research, that play is probably one of the highest kind of ways of interacting with reality. Because if you want to learn, you can do it through play. You can interact with your child or your partner with play. You have the aspect of safety, because in play you have to have safety. You have the aspect of exploration, and you can kind of around take on new challenges progressively. I believe that as in neuroscience we find, and in spirituality it's also emphasized, the relationship of the approach of play is the suggested way to interact with any relationship in any domain of life. Like this is kind of my insinuation, and the fact that we are talking about is in the context of business, I would say it's kind of the simplest, because it involves the least emotional charge. You can kind of look at it a little bit technically. It's much harder for people to like have this same freedom to say about a game as like game they play with their partner, their children, their parents, their friends. People have an aversion to this because it implies some kind of fakeness to the thing. But it's more about like kind of what water do you want to swim? Do you want to swim in the water of like things are happening to me, or there is like a sandbox in which I live and there are some rules to moving around the sandbox and I can choose that this is a sandbox and I'm playing. I'm not saying that, like, it's very important to say simple doesn't mean easy. Like, it's an extremely important thing to say. A lot of things that Alex says are simple. What I'm trying to convey, I also think is simple. But it doesn't mean it's easy, meaning like living, like staying in the bound of simple principles for consecutive days is hard. Like, people want sophisticated solutions because they don't trust that persistence and simple things work. And like, there is a funny thing. I think that Julius Caesar said something like that. It's kind of easy to find a man who will die for a cause, and not easy to find a man who will endure prolonged silent pain. And I think that this is the kind of endeavor. Like, doing a business is like prolonged silent pain. Not many people can endure it, so not many people succeed.
The concept of play is what can help you to find your why. If you are doing if you are targeting only the, of course, business is for money. Everybody understands. But Alex Hormozi tells that if you go to business, if you're going to be entrepreneur, you want to stay with very long periods of time without money. You don't expect salary at the end of the month, so you need to work not tens of hours, not hundreds of hours. He says about like it can be hundreds and hundreds of days, and even thousands of hours to achieve first income, first salary to yourself. So your intrinsic motivation should be very, how to say, you have to build your inner grid around the concept of your identity. So if you treat yourself as an entrepreneur, as one who has big idea, which of course should be supported by different signals. If you work for a big idea and you have something to get like in five years, and you don't have small wins, if you don't have small, like when you score a goal in football, when you play in different game, you need to even if you're not the champion, but still if you don't get the medals, Messi or Ronaldo, they had to be the best in the world. They had to win a lot of small games without getting any financial reward. For example, many people in sports and also in business, they need to go and to play a lot of games, a lot of small games, and to win some, to have the understanding that you're not going for big win. So if I want to be the best football player in the world now, and I go to play like 10 hours per day for 3 years, I understand that I'm not young enough to do this, and I don't have the physical capacity of becoming the best. So I need to get some signals and some small wins to attain some results in the future. But also business is and entrepreneurial efforts and all these enterprises that we found, we cannot run them long enough if we don't accept it as play something. Sometimes we lose, sometimes we win, and we don't get meaningful results in near future. So the Leela of business is something that resonates with me because I don't see results in like 70 to 80% of my activities. So whatever I do, I have some wins in maybe 10 to 20%, which gives me enough to live and support my family and my life. But many things are in vain. Still, for me, everything is play. It's what I totally agree with you in this point.
Use the word like entrepreneurship kind of in this like more overarching multiple months here kind of sense, and I'm gonna like take a look at it from the other side, which is gonna be, I think, also like very like related to how I feel that Alex speaks about it, meaning, and this will be the Tolle, the book was, you already spoke about this book, Power of Now. Okay, so you are only now, like, meaning like all of the other things are memories and a sea of potential called future. Like in the now, you are building the entrepreneur that you are. In the now, you are building the partner that you are. In the now, you are building the father that you are. In the now, you're building everything else that you are. There is this long feedback loop of like being an entrepreneur, which is like making money, which you were talking about. And there is this small feedback loop of like, okay, maybe you are doing it for the money, but if you're not doing it for the money, you are just choosing a hard thing to do, because we assume that entrepreneurship is a hard thing. And I would say it's not easy, like by the standards of what you can do in the world. Like I do like the idea that goals are tools for shaping us. And if you come to the plate and you are saying like, I want to be a person who's patient, so you will have problems that demand patience. Like if you want to be smart, you will like challenge yourself intellectually. If you want to be like networked, you have to like connect to people. Like there's so many small games that you are playing at the same time in this bucket, and the KPI, key performance indicator of money, is very important, because if you don't play that indicator, you're not playing the game of business. But playing around that indicator of success, you can do in so many different ways. This is also why the arena is such interesting arena, because you can be a businessman in so many different flavors and have success in so many different ways.
Yeah. So different entrepreneur is only one role, and as Viktor Frankl, I think he said this, that if you have your inner why, you can endure anyhow. If you understand that you treat yourself, you have the systems, you have your identity, and you have your systems in place, so you can build on many habits that will shape your personality in different roles. So it's for many people, the problems arise when you don't identify yourself. You want to break your smoking habits, or you want to break your habit of getting a salary like every month. So it's like smoking. So people are to getting salary or getting paid paycheck, or they also, there are different there are many flawed metrics of one's progression. So people who are on a payroll, they go to the office, and the amount of time they spend chatting and drinking coffee, it pays them. So the soldier sleeps, the service goes, the famous proverb. So you pay for being present. But for people in the industrial age, the metrics are the number of wheels or parts or gears that you produce, or number of parts that you produce in the assembly line. But for knowledge worker and for most of the, so in this age of artificial intelligence and robotics, people are more and more replaced by machines and robots. So people need to build on their mental capacity and build on their ability to build their personalities and identities as ones who will be difficult to replace by robots. People are more and more valued by their integrity, their communication skills, and their internal capability of growth and learning capacities. You can go with any storms. You can go in life with any storms and be as calm and as effective as humanly possible in any situation, in any technology advance. If you first you have your inner how. You have an inner how, inner why. You understand who you are. You understand your relationships with yourself first, and with people around you, and with your work, and then you can build on different habits and ethics and rituals around you to be well in life, to have good, not to depend on somebody paying you for only for your work hours, but but you will have different metrics for your work, for your activity. You will be in demand in any time if you have this mental capacity of growth, this mindset of growth, and your inner identity of responsible personality who treats life around you not as a means to a salary, but as a playful circumstances where you can float and enjoy every relationships and every relationship and every interaction with other people. So my main point is if you live in full consciousness with Leela, with playfulness in your now, you can treat everything around you, all the difficult situations, and you can strive, and have good time, independent of your current job or the number of days to your payroll, something like this.
Like what I kind of want to say here is that like I kind of wanted to emphasize it, and I think I would like emphasize this again now that like Lila is just a frame. It's a made up story, or you cannot eat it, you cannot like hold it in your hands. It's just a story. Like you can say that your like God is true. Like it's a useful story for yourself. If you personally feel it, okay, that's your reality. If I feel it, that's my reality. If like everybody feels, nobody feels, I don't know. Like for all intents and purposes, this is kind of a story that you tell yourself. And like what I kind of want to emphasize is that I don't feel that the starting point for most people is about knowing their why for entrepreneurship. I don't think that most people are good in themselves being fully conscious. And I don't think that it's the bar for starting. There is like a sentence from the Bible that goes something like, if you want to keep your life, you will lose it. If you want to give your life away for me, you will get it, or something like that. It's, I think, from Matthew, like Jesus' words. Meaning, like there is this like spirit of like I want to engage in the game, even if it's hard, even if it's painful, because I choose to. This is like this kind of building a relationship that you are happening to life, or life is happening to you. You are getting money from your paycheck. You are hoping for like things not to change and so on. Like, and you are hoping that you will survive. In this kind of sentence, that's a biblical sentence that if you hope to like keep your life, you will lose it, is the death of not going on to the adventure. And if you give your life away, you will get it, is what you get for adventure. Like that doesn't mean that there is no pain and problem there. And I again want to come back to this, like if you prefer the Christian frame, which is extremely good and useful, but kind of devoid of play aspect, take that one. If you want the martyrdom, take that one. If you want the playfulness, take that one. If you want to be biohacker, take Tim Ferriss and say, like, how would it look if it was easy? Like, just admit to yourself that you're making shit up to yourself about why you're doing things. And like, is it hard or not hard? Okay, but like, give yourself a chance. Take a good frame.
Yeah. So the test whether you are living in full consciousness is whether you feel easy, you feel like relaxed in whatever you do, whatever bad situation, or like Viktor Frankl being in concentration camp. But he imagined that in some years he will give a speech about it before his students, and so he could survive because he had inner how. I agree with you that many people, they don't understand their how, they are not good in philosophy, but still I think that some people are better prepared for life situation. By the way, this is the part of now, one of the books that I'm reading now. I'm reading two books at the moment, one physical one and one in digital form. I bought both of them. One of them is Deep Work, but Cal Newport, which I read the third time, but first time in English in paper form. I bought it from Amazon. And another one is part of now, and this is a very quite insightful test for what is the name of the author?
Power of Now?
Yeah.
Eckhart Tolle.
Eckhart Tolle. Yeah. So it is said in this book that when it's quite nothing terrible happens in your life, and still you feel uneasy about your life. You don't feel the joy of life. You don't feel that you're completely relaxed, that you enjoy what you are doing. It's a test that whenever something really bad happens, you're not prepared. You are not prepared to carpe diem, to grasp your day, to be playful. Playfulness is a state of easiness. Of everything is a game in our life, and we take different roles. We can take the role of parent, of adult, or a child. But Eric Berne, the games that people play. You can take any role and you could play the game. I treat the life as a game. I think maybe your life maybe could be more difficult than mine. I don't know, but many times in my life I thought, why this is happening to me? So this is the worst scenario that I could imagine, and there is no way out. It was like 12 times, maybe 20 times. So Eckhart Tolle tells that if you are not fully at the moment, if you don't feel it like play, like enjoyable game in moderate stressful situations, then you're not prepared for bad situations where something really bad happens. And that will be the harsh test. But people who are living in there now, they can go through any difficulties. Like Viktor Frankl showed with his concentration camp experience.
Like there are two important aspects to this. One is like, where do you take your kind of energy from? Because you can take it from the now and take it from the future. I think that what Frankl was describing is taking it from the future, because your current experience is unbearable. You are able to create a vision of the future which is compelling enough that it's worth surviving even the least compelling circumstances. This is what I kind of believe the story is to a great extent about. And the other kind of side of the story, the other thing is living in the moment doesn't exclude pain from happening to you. It's almost the opposite, because you don't dull the pain that's coming to you. But you don't have to hold on to neither the hope that it will stop, nor the belief that caused it. And maybe distinction, suffering and pain. Pain is unavoidable. Okay, like I'm putting pain away. Pain is unavoidable. Suffering now. Like you don't have to suffer if you allow for bad things to come through you and let them go. Part of letting go of a bad thing is letting go of the belief that caused it. This is what's happening in the now. And those are like two different concepts. One is how do you deal with existence, which is unraveling second by second. And the other thing is, where do you take energy from? Do you take it from now you are now fulfilled, now everything is going great, or it's better now, but you kind of see a vision of you getting to a place that's worthwhile, and this pain is for that.
So I will not comment this, but it's maybe we can round up our conversation, and you gave some insights what you learned today. Maybe you have some new thoughts that you want to summarize after our conversation.
I think that to me, the subject is interesting because like more and more try to answer the question of how to live my life in an action-oriented way and less thinking-oriented way, not to explain to people what I think, but do the things and like, you explain it to yourself, in the sense that like I, since the last few months, started to like take a role of a father to a child, the role of a partner to my currently fiancé, and I'm still continuing on the path of entrepreneurship. The less I try to answer this question of how to do any of those things intellectually, and the more I try to like use simple things like how to make it playful in the moment, how do I bring the cheerful and creative spirit to the things, the better they feel and grow. So this is why I kind of wanted to turn attention of other people to the concept of play. There is so many deep research, not just spiritual things, but around the usefulness of play in creating good life, like internally and externally good life. I strictly recommend people look into it. And what I feel that Alex is doing is like he created his own game. He created his own story. Like my girlfriend beautifully said lately that like living without a goal is like playing a game without a story. Like play a game, create a story, and play.
Yeah. So from my side, I think that the themes that you brought about the playfulness and the Leela, as I read many books, I read Srimad Bhagavatam of 18,000 verses in Sanskrit 2 times. So this is a book with I will show. So now I'm reading this book, Deep Work, and Srimad Bhagavatam. I have this book of Srimad Bhagavatam. So it has 18,000 verses. It's like this, and it has separate section about Leela. So this is the 10th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, which describes relationships between Krishna and Gopi, and it's separate part of Srimad Bhagavatam, and it's also signed by one of the prominent gurus of modern age, Gopal Krishna Goswami. So for me, it's like a new page after spending 7 years in the monastery, a new page for getting headfirst to business and to be responsible for my agency, which is like 7 people now, and of course mainly for my family, which is 6 people. It was a dog, but dog unfortunately died this year. So I have gotten these responsibilities, and I think this kind of philosophical background, philosophical talks about the meanings of our activities, about our whys. It's important for me to keep going and keep and for different people to keep their identities more developed and to continue investing in energy despite sometimes not the best results. So we should be more playful. We should treat our life easier and put more attention into now and to the playfulness of our life. Because everything is a game and it's night content. Everything is a Leela in our life. And we have also our Leela with you, Borys, our kind of relationships, a kind of unexpected turns of our discussions, as it's always, I think you have quite a deep mind with a lot of technology, both and philosophical understanding background. So let's go on with this, Borys.
Yeah, it's a fun game.
Thank you. So I will stop this.